Hello, and welcome to another edition from the desk of Dan White, our monthly update from our firm. In the news recently, you may or may not have heard of this, but Fitch recently downgraded the U.S. government debt. The last time the U.S. had a downgrade was back in 2011, I believe. S&P downgraded the debt. I don't necessarily think this is anything to be too alarmed about. I think what Fitch is saying, they're more concerned about our politics, how we kind of run up against this debt ceiling every other year, and they don't have a whole lot of confidence in our political system that we can kind of come to agreement. So I don't think that's the big news. More importantly, though, Moody's, another one of the big credit rating agencies, got more specific with another round of credit downgrades. And this is on the banks. I mean, we thought we were out of the woods with the banking system after Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. And Moody's published warnings about potential trouble ahead for banks. And they downgraded the credit ratings of 10 small and mid-sized U.S. banks and said they are considering the possibility of downgrading major lenders such as U.S. Bancorp, Bank of New York Mellon, State Street, and Truist Financial. I know we have some clients out there in Chester County that use Truist. They cited several problems plaguing the banking sector, including high funding costs and growing risk associated with commercial real estate loans due to diminishing demand for office space. We know COVID changed the landscape for commercial real estate, and a lot of vacancies out there. A lot of companies, when these leases come due, are going to recognize they don't need the space, and these banks could be on the hook for some of these vacancies. The downgraded banks included M&T Bank, very popular here in Wilmington, Pinnacle Financial Partners, and BOK Financial. They also changed their current outlook to negative on 11 banks, including Capital One Financial, Citizens Financial, and Fifth Third Bancorp. These banks have a large exposure to subprime borrowers who are likely the first to stop paying back their loans in a recession when things get tough. Now, that being said, we're not saying any of these banks are going to fail. I don't want anybody running out and withdrawing all their money from the bank. But I think if you are in Capital One, if you're in Citizens, if you're in Truist, I think the prudent measure would be make sure you stay under the $250,000 FDIC limit. If you've got more than that in one of these banks, you may want to rethink that. So that's kind of the news in the banking sector. And then the last thing, I came across two articles in the last week or so, and they both kind of say that investors today are taking too much risk. You know, the rule of thumb, subtract your age from 100. You know, if you're 60 years old, you ought to have 40% in stocks and 60% in bonds. If you're 30 years old, you could have 70% in stocks, 30% in bonds. So that's kind of the rule of thumb. As you get older, you need to scale back the risk a little bit. When you're younger, you can afford to wait those things out. Well, Wall Street article came out last month. It was told America's retirees are investing more like 30-year-olds. And it suggests that retirees have abandoned this rule of thumb to chase bigger returns. Nearly half of Vanguard 401k investors actively managing their money and over age 55 held more than 70% of their portfolios in stocks. In 2011, for a little comparison, only 38% had 70% of their portfolios in stocks. And at Fidelity Investments, nearly 40% of investors aged 65 to 69 hold over 2/3 or more of their portfolios in stocks. And it's not just baby boomers. In taxable brokerage accounts at Vanguard, 1/5, 20% of investors 85 or older had all of their money in stocks, up from 16% in 2012. And the same is true for almost a quarter of those aged 75 to 84. So why take more risk at an age when capital preservation ought to be your priority? Well, we all know the real cause of this. The real cause is simply savers haven't had a place to hide cash since 2008. That's when the Federal Reserve first took interest rates to zero. And since then, retirees have become increasingly more comfortable with taking more risk to earn more return. In other words, they've learned to put their savings into riskier assets like stocks instead of safer assets like bonds and cash. So again, rates are up. You're getting 4 to 5% on savings accounts at banks. I think it is time. I mean, the market has certainly surprised this year. It's up about 17%. But another article I just came across said, you know what? There's a lot of hedge funds at this point. Hedge funds are going to cash. And again, you got to follow the smart money. So if the brightest minds in the world are now saying, hey, we had a good run, inflation may not be beat entirely yet, it may be time to perhaps get a little de-risk and get a little safer on the sidelines, it might be time to do that. On a firm update, we have our upcoming Blue Rocks game coming up on August the 25th. We've had an unbelievable response to this. We hope we get some great weather, and you will be hearing from our new events manager, Kristen, to confirm your reservation and also give you the parameters on how we're going to handle the tickets and that type of thing. Little teaser, our upcoming fall referral event. We're working hard to get that planned, and I think it's going to be a great venue. So there's still plenty of time for you. We have our seminar calendar on our website. If you go on there and you have a friend, a neighbor, a colleague that you want to introduce to us, bring them to a seminar. Give us their name. If they come in to see us, you will be invited to our fall referral event. We've also, as we've said in the past, tried to amp up our Google reviews. If you have a Gmail account, we've had a lot of clients go on and help us with that. It moves us up in the rankings, I've heard. So if you do have a Gmail account, we would love for you to tell people about your experience with our firm. And again, our upcoming seminars. So make mention to your friends and family to attend an upcoming dinner seminar, and then that way you will get an invite to our upcoming referral event. So a lot to cover this month. I hope you enjoyed our update, and I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you.